Brazil. Move on to preview the match between Italy and Switzerland, the European round of 16 tie, the first tie that we actually get. We're going to be previewing the two games on Saturday today, and we'll be previewing the two games on Sunday tomorrow. So we start off with Italy versus Switzerland. Really big game. This is the game, in my opinion, is the most interesting of all the European round of 16 ties, because it's two evenly battled teams, right? In terms of quality, in my opinion, very even. I think based on form and based on performance levels and just overall the better team has to go to Switzerland, just based on what we've seen at this European Championship. I think Switzerland has been more consistent. They've been more braver. They've been more forward going, been more energetic, have had a really, really good tournament. While you look at Italy, on the other hand, they started off decently well in Albania, especially in that first half, and then in the second half, in the second game against Spain, just get completely played out of the park, out of the world, just get completely outplayed. And then in that closing game against Croatia, looked pretty shaky, not create much. Play sort of on the block, and it took them a last kick of the game goal to get past Croatia and to move on out of that group. So, it's clear that Italy is concerning. It's clear that Italy, they're kind of not luck their way, but it's been very difficult to find themselves through, and they really could be out of this tournament if it wasn't for that last kick at a game goal to end that group stages. But it don't matter at that point no more. It doesn't matter how you get there. It matters that they're here, and they have every opportunity to make the best out of this opportunity that they have on playing on that bottom side of the bracket, which is the worst side of the bracket. And they'll start off against Switzerland. Now, based on performance and all that, Switzerland, they played better, right? But when it comes to footballing culture, footballing heritage, all that, Italy has more, in my opinion, has the advantage, and I think that is an advantage. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like the Champions League. I don't know how to explain why it's a factor and how it can affect, but it does. It can affect it. The fact that Italy have all the culture, all the history, all the tradition, it will be a factor in this game. I don't know how. I can't explain. It's something that you can't explain, but it just is. Like, it always proves to be a factor and to be a big factor. And I think that is enough. That might be enough to push Italy through in this battle, despite Switzerland being the better team at this point in time that we find ourselves in. Now, Italy, and keep in mind, Italy have a lot of these players that are experienced in terms of going on a run at a European Championship. They've had multiple players that have won the European Championship. Bastoni was part of that squad. Donnarumma was was the goalkeeper for that team. Niccolò Barella, Federico Chiesa, I believe Di Marco was part of that squad too. So these are players that were playing, that were part of that team, and that are that will be huge for them in this game. Yes, of course, but the performance levels from Italy has not been good enough at this European Championship. There's no two way about it. Luciano Spalletti came in, and you're thinking, we're all thinking, oh, he's gonna bring this high flying type of attacking display that we see from Napoli, high intensity. Very open, very attack-oriented type of style of play. You're expecting to see that for this Italian national team, and we saw that for about a 15-minute stretch against Albania, 20-minute stretch against Albania, and we have not seen it much else in this tournament. They've been rather more closer to their traditional Italian ways of defending, not playing like a park the bus, but playing a little bit tighter, playing a little bit more deeper back the field, and And that has been a little bit not concerning, but if you are going to play that sort of way, well, you need guys that can play in transition, and Italy doesn't have really the attackers to do that. And in general, the attacking from Italy is pretty lackluster. I think defensively they are pretty strong. Now they will be missing Calafiori, who's actually huge in scoring in that goal that sent them into it. He was the one that made the run, that was able to find Zaccagni, who was open to get that goal. So that's going to be a big miss, not primarily because of his defensive abilities. I think you bring in a guy off the bench like Buongiorno. I think he's a very, very good center back, and I think he's a very good defender. But what he does not give you is his ability to play out of the back, to be comfortable on the ball the way Calafiori is. So I think there is that a little bit different element in him defending. I think defensively, in terms of his defensive qualities, I think he gives you a little bit more, honestly, than Calafiori. But he doesn't have that ability to play on the ball, to kind of, to make, to show what Calafiori did on that goal, or to play out of the ball with Calafiori's ability to play pass the ball. You don't really get that from Buongiorno. So that will be a big miss in that game. And Italy need to be very clever in the way that they play, because Switzerland, they do have players that can play vertical, that will make those runs in behind. And Bastoni, Darmian, and Buongiorno, if he's the one that starts, need to be aware of that. They really need to be tight and close the spaces. I think it's also important that Jorginho, what he did really well, especially whenever in the Champions League, whenever Chelsea went on that run, the combination of him and Kovacic, they were really, really good at covering the spaces between the center halves, between the middle center halves and the outside center backs, Jorginho and Kovacic, or Jorginho and Kante. I think Jorginho and Barella, that's going to be important, because Switzerland, they will make those vertical runs in between. They will find the spaces and they'll make those runs. And I think Italy need to be very, very tight and be wary of those. I think it's important for whoever is playing up top, whether it is Retegui, which I don't think it should be. I think it should be Scamacca. I think Scamacca just gives you more in terms of general play than Retegui. And Retegui, yes, maybe he's a better goal scorer or better finisher than Scamacca, but he doesn't really get opportunities to finish because, there's not much ability to create within this Italia team. I think Scamacca, being able to drop in midfield and spring the ball out wide, he gives you just a little bit more in terms of general play. But as far as Italy, though, goes, in terms of, or as far as Switzerland, as far as Italy goes, whoever is playing up top or in the midfield, they need to be clever in not giving up too much space for Granit Xhaka, not being able to pick you apart. I think if you put pressure on Granit Xhaka, it makes the game a lot more easier. It really does for you. Now, if you give Granit Xhaka time and space to scan and do whatever he wants, then you're asking for the Swiss to carve you open, because he has that ability to make it happen. And it's important for Italy to do that. They also can't play too timid. Now, I say play tight, make it compact, don't allow the vertical runs to break you, but you got to find the right balance of not getting sucked too deep to where you can't play out. And that will be if Italy find themselves in that situation, that is dangerous. Now, can Switzerland, are they able to do what Spain does? No. So I don't think that'll be a major concern. In Italy, they have to be the main foot. They have to be the one in terms of being the protagonist. They have to be the one that is attacking. They have to play with the sense of belief that and I think the fact that they are Italy, when I say football culture, football heritage, I think they'll play with the sense of belief that they are the better team, which I think will make them even more deadly and make make it harder on Switzerland. So I will say Italy will be able to get it done. I think the culture, the tradition, I think will get through. I think Italy will make it happen. And I think they'll find themselves on a potential deep run at these European Championships, primarily or almost single-handedly because of how weak their opposition will be in terms of who they'll take on in the Swiss, not the Swiss game, but beyond.